Happy Tuesday. It is Tuesday, June 15th in the year of 2021, and welcome to another edition of Tuesdays with Thom. It's always good to get home. No matter what exotic, fun place you go, whether you're on business or vacation, it's always good when that final day dawns, and it's good to know that you're going home. We had a great time last week in New Orleans. We did the show from New Orleans, and as they say in New Orleans, everyone who comes to New Orleans leaves with a great story. Do I have a great story? I've got a couple of pretty good stories, but yeah, we went to the French Quarter. We did all that stuff. But my most fun time was getting up and out of the house at 6 o'clock in the morning for a morning bike ride through the French Quarter in the city center district. I've ridden bikes now in many of the places that I've visited. I've ridden bikes all over Paris, all over Rome. You get to see the place differently. Mainly, you get a close-up look and feel for the people. The people in New Orleans were very friendly, and I've been to New Orleans several times. This time was special because it was a big family event. I got many good mornings I received while riding, made me feel at home. But when it was time, I was glad to be heading back home. Juneteenth is upcoming on the 19th of this month. It's a holiday celebrating the emancipation of those who had been enslaved in the southern United States that had formed the Confederacy. Originating in Galveston, Texas, it is now celebrated annually on June 19th throughout the United States with increasing official recognition. It is commemorated on the anniversary date of the June 19th, 1865 announcement of the General Order No. 3 by the Union Army General Gordon Granger proclaiming freedom from slavery in Texas. Now, President Abraham Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation had officially outlawed slavery in Texas and the other states in rebellion against the Union 2.5 years early. But because there had a low presence of Union troops in Texas, enforcement had been slow and inconsistent before Granger's announcement. Celebrations date back to 1866, at first involving church-centered community gatherings in Texas. As of 2020, Hawaii and North Dakota are the two states that do not at this time celebrate Juneteenth. Modern observance is primarily in local celebrations. Traditions include public readings of the Emancipation Proclamation, singing traditional songs such as Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, Lift Every Voice and Sing, reading of works by noted African-American writers such as Ralph Ellison and Maya Angelou, and the Miss Juneteenth context. The Muskogos, descendants of the Black Seminoles who escaped from U.S. slavery in 1852 and celebrated in Coahuila, Mexico, also celebrate Juneteenth. Juneteenth, June 19th. I hope you will be involved in a celebration somewhere. Couple of sports items this morning. You start them off in younger than Little League. They play some kind of ball, football, baseball, soccer, basketball, softball. Some start in the Pee Wee League with the parents primarily serving as their coaches. Then some of them progress into elementary school if they mature physically and have good coaches, and good coaches is the key thing there. High school ball comes next. With high school ball, there comes a leveling off. Talent takes over. Some will go, most will not. Some will become major college prospects, some smaller school prospects, and for some, high school is the end of their team sports playing days. Then there are the few that go further. They play in college, they play on the big stage, and if they have the aspiration, the right teaching and coaching, and everything lines up properly, they become professional at their sport, or they become coaches at a high level. What's it like to coach at a major college basketball? Well, we had Bruce Pearl on here earlier, the head basketball coach at Auburn, and some idea you plot out of there as a college coach. How important is recruiting? Today, we'll get some answers to those questions and more from one who is there. Our G-List guest today is Mykayla Walker. That name might sound familiar. Mykayla is the daughter of our roundtable commentator, Mykayla Walker. So today we get to hear from her and her dad in our G-List discussion. Tuesday with Thom is brought to you by our partners, the Best Girl Consulting Firm. And let's hear Best Girl.
Best Girl is a consulting firm that provides customized leadership, access and inclusion, public relations, communications, and organizational consulting services. Clients include Fortune 500 companies, utilities, higher education institutions, small businesses, and associations. Best Girls team of consultants led by Joyce Gilly-Gossam, Emily Hedrick, and Sean Jones partners with business and education clients to promote organizational effectiveness, communication, motivation, and leadership, with always an impact on the bottom line. Best Girls customized consulting services include strategic planning, corporate communication, executive coaching, fundraising, and economic development.
It's the solution that fits your needs. Okay, so let's get to our roundtable regulars this morning and introduce Barbara Wallace Edwards and Mykayla Walker. Barbara Wallace Edwards is a Mobile, Alabama native, currently living in Birmingham. She's looking to get on the go again. So Barbara, how are you this morning?
Good morning, Thom. I'm doing well. Thank you. How are you today?
I am doing just wonderful. I have to go back and ask this question. So is your internet thing working right yet? Are you still visiting somebody else's office?
I am still visiting, Thom.
Just wanted to be sure. So other than that, what's happening in your world?
Thom, I'm just coming off of
laughing, but it's
I know you have to laugh. You're laughing or you're angry with them with AT&T. So I just continue to laugh for right now. But coming off a very busy weekend, I got a chance to celebrate the birthday of one of my godson's baby. He turned 1 year old this past weekend. So there was a huge party in his honor. And then also helped my niece and her family celebrate moving into their new home this weekend. So it was a very busy weekend for me.
Was this in Birmingham or Mobile?
All of this was in Birmingham.
Okay,
yes.
Good deal.
Yes.
Okay, good deal. Sounds good. What else you got for us?
Getting ready to head down to New Orleans, just where you're coming from. I have a nephew and his beautiful bride that are going to be getting married upcoming not this weekend, but next weekend. So I'm going down a couple of days early and spend some time in the Big Easy, as Michael says, the Big Sleazy. So I'm looking forward to that visit.
I like New Orleans. I've shot jobs in New Orleans and I've shot jobs in Atlanta, and I'd much rather shoot jobs in New Orleans. So I'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
It's a lot easier to negotiate and navigate. And
yes.
People are exceptionally friendly.
Absolutely.
So let's get Michael on here. Mykayla Walker, how are you this morning? And what's going on in your world?
Well, I'm doing well, Thom. I hope you are too. Good morning, Barbara, to you as well. A couple things I like to tell you guys about is some good news and some interesting news. The first thing is the cost of health care is dropping for millions of Americans, according to the Urban Institute. They have found that the Affordable Care Act premiums fell by an average of 1.2% from 2018 to 2019 and 3.2% from 2019 to 2020. And then 1.7% from 2020 to 21. You may say those numbers don't add up to a lot. However, premiums rose by 32% during 2017 and 2018 under the Trump administration. The reason being is that the Trump administration coerced the federal government into stop paying insurance carriers for reducing some out-of-pocket expenses. As a result, that drove up the costs. Also, because of the continued uncertainty of Congress trying to repeal Obamacare, that caused insurers to think that enrollment would plummet, so they upped the cost. But now with Biden's healthcare policies in place, stability has returned to the marketplace and prices are going down tremendously. The other thing is that the Supreme Court will be making a decision any day now on the legality of Obamacare. As you know, the former administration was trying to outlaw it and say it was unconstitutional and get rid of it. They campaigned on repeal and replace, but they never came up with anything to replace it with. And with this week coming up, we should hear something from the Supreme Court. However, we hope and we're thinking that they will not strike it down. Here's the downside of it. If they were to, nearly 30 million Americans could lose their health care, and 1.2 million would lose their jobs. However, based on oral arguments, it seems like Justice Kavanaugh and Justice Roberts both feel that Congress never intended to repeal Obamacare when they made the individual mandate zero premium. So, thereby outlawing the individual mandate for health care, they felt like they wanted the rest of it to stay intact. So there's some hope that they will not outlaw.
Okay. All right. So you guys got anything else you any hot topics you want to discuss this morning?
Well, the gift that keeps on giving, Thom. None other than the senator from Alabama, Tommy Tuberville.
Senator Shelby?
No, the other senator, the junior senator.
The junior senator.
Oh, Coach Tuberville. What do he do now?
Well, first thing he did was he opened his mouth.
He should have stayed in coaching.
I don't know. It just seems like whenever he comes out and gives a statement publicly, he opens mouth and insert foot and says things that are totally contrary to not only himself and his background, but the players that he coached.
So let's tell me what happened this time.
Well, now with all of the discussions around paying players for name, image, and likeness, and you have a lot of programs that are developing plans to help and assist the players in marketing their name, image, and likeness. Tuberville came out and said the players do not need to get paid. They're already being paid, is what he said.
They're already being paid.
Yeah, he's saying they're on scholarship and they're getting some type of cost of living monthly stipend or something. He mentioned anywhere from $600 to $800 a month, which I've never heard that before. So that's certainly news to me that they're getting that much of a monthly stipend of any kind.
And I don't know. I will just tell you, way back in my day, we got a check for $15 a month, and it was called laundry money, and that was in addition to your scholarship. And I would assume that they still get that stipend, but I would guess that it's more than $15. I hope it is.
I hope so.
Whether it's $700 or $800.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm curious about the senator in that it seems that he doesn't care for his former profession as much,
Right.
or at least for the players that play in his former profession.
Yeah, and I wonder how his former players feel about him now. If we have any of our viewers or former players, I would love for them to maybe type a comment or something to let us know what are their thoughts about Tuberville and some of the things he's saying these days.
I'd love to ask him, to be honest.
Yeah, that's true.
I'd love for him to come on our show and talk to us. I'm curious, and I'm sure he has his reasons. And I'm sure, and I would guess that part of his reason is he's a Republican, and he has to he's a Trump Republican, and so he has to kowtow to that whole storyline, and that storyline means that you come out against defenseless people. I mean, what are the players going to do? They're going to go up against the
Right.
U.S. senator.
Absolutely.
And I will say that though, and maybe I'm wrong, but I didn't see any of his former players endorse him when he ran
No,
for senator.
yeah, neither did I.
So
Not
that
one.
may tell you something right there. I think, Michael, you're close with Jason. I've never heard. I did see Jason do an ad that came out for like a hot minute and then it was gone.
Yeah, I think Jason was kind of put in a situation where he just came out and did a Facebook ad, but for Tommy Tuberville, and that was long before he started speaking publicly. In other words, yeah, I appreciate you clarifying that comment about Republicans. You can be a Republican without being a Trump Republican, and those are the Republicans that look at physical conservatism, look at social responsibility and other things, and not opposed to everything like the Trump Republicans are. And, I'm not so sure if it won't be long before these Trump Republicans find out that they have been hoodwinked, so to speak, by Trump himself.
You would have thought they would have found it out already. I mean, again, he's done everything that anyone could possibly do to lose their trust, but somehow they continue to be in love with him. I don't understand that.
Well, from the political standpoint, to me, I think they're on that bandwagon because they feel he has the power to get them elected or not elected. He can, what do they call it? He can primary them. He can put somebody in against them, and get them out of office. But, Tuberville just got into office. He's there for 6 years. I would think that that's not as big a concern. So who knows why he, or there is the possibility he's just, maybe he's not that bright.
That's a strong possibility. Very strong possibility.
I was trying to be nice about it, but I don't know.
I don't know. And I find it very interesting, Thom, that he can say that the players are already getting paid because they're on scholarship. Well, he as a coach was getting a salary also, but he was also taking payments for endorsements and, his likeness and his appearances. So if it goes for the players, stands for players, why wouldn't it apply to coaches as well? I mean, he's not being fair there. So, and I've always said too, a student that received a merit scholarship, academic scholarship, they have an opportunity to go out and get a job because after they leave classes, they've got some free time. Whereas athletes spend most of their time practicing, watching film, studying, playbooks and all of that. So they don't have time to get a part-time job. And it's unfair for them to not have that opportunity. Therefore, they should receive some type of stipend, some type of payment.
He says that it's not minor league professional sports. I'm looking for his statement. It's not a minor league farm system, he says.
Yeah.
It is education. At the end of the day, it should be about education. I agree with the senator on that. Although several years ago, several players who played for the senator alleged that they were being paid under the table while playing for the former coach. So I don't know. I just think that there's so many subjects you could talk about in that position. And I don't think that's one that it's interesting when you read the statements, his statements, they're always positioned so that the sentiment seems to be, look what he said this time.
Right. Can you believe what he said this time?
So I don't know. I do agree that they do it because they're afraid of Trump.
Yes.
And And there aren't many, and Michael, as you just said, traditional Republicans, there aren't many of them that are willing to speak out, especially any of them holding office,
Right.
Against the storyline these days. So,
Well, that's true. I will say that I think his grasp is waning a little bit. He had threatened to primary Governor Brian Kemp in Georgia, and he's having a difficult time finding someone to do so.
good.
I also find that it's ironic that the person that is running against Brian Kemp is none other than Vernon Jones, who was a former Democrat that just conveniently changed over and became a Republican while Trump was in office. And he's running, but Trump hasn't endorsed him. However, Trump has said that he would endorse anybody that would run against Brian Kemp. I will mention the fact that Vernon just did a commercial where he talked about all the things that Brian Kemp did not do and how he supported the president and what have you. And he ended his commercial by saying, "If you didn't know, I am a Black Republican." I find that a little bit interesting that he would say that in his commercial. But the person,
Well, was he in the commercial?
who?
The guy you
Vernon.
talking? Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I
Vernon
think
Jones.
everybody could see he was Black.
Well, I agree with that. I know.
So.
But that's why I said I found it kind of ironic that he would end his commercial by saying,
Okay.
you know, but I will say that a guy by the name of Burt Jones, who was a former legislator here in Georgia, Trump has been trying to get him to run, and he has said he is not going to run against Kemp. He met with his father and met with the son, who's 42. The son said he's going to run for lieutenant governor. He's not going to challenge Brian Kemp. So he's striking out, and the Vernon Jones camp is waiting on Trump to endorse it. I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, I don't think he'd endorse the guy as you described him, and then I don't think he'll endorse anybody that isn't a threat to win.
Right.
And so if he endorses this guy and this guy gets blown out, that's a reflection on him, at least in his eyes. I don't know. I think things are, just from my opinion, I think things are a lot calmer than they were. I think they're a lot less divisive than they were. And hopefully that trend will continue as we go forward. So, anything else from you guys?
Nope.
No, thank you.
Okay, well, we're going to move on to the G list. As mentioned today, our special G list guest today is Mykayla Walker, assistant basketball coach at the University of Delaware and the daughter of our roundtable regular Mykayla Walker. The G list is sponsored by the Mainstream Financial Group. Mainstream Financial Group provides financial services for both individuals and businesses. Their mission is to understand the unique needs of each and every client and work closely with those clients, assembling a planning team to develop and manage your plan to help you accomplish your defined financial goals. Their financial professionals can offer the custom advice you need to mend together the pieces of your financial life and come up with a plan that is truly comprehensive. You can take advantage of opportunities with tailored advice and the resources to act on it. For financial vision and clarity, it's Mainstream Financial Group at www.mainstreamfg. Let me do that again, www.mainstreamfg.com. 205-324-0589. Give them a call. I think you'll be glad you did. Okay, our G-list guest today is Mykayla Walker. Remember, Hollywood has the A-list, and here we have the G-list, where everybody is a star. Mykayla Walker is the assistant coach and recruiting coordinator for the women's basketball program at the University of Delaware. Mykayla has a bachelor's degree in communications with a concentration in media from Wake Forest University, where she played varsity basketball for 4 years. And when she is not training her players or helping them prepare for their next step, she can be found shoe shopping or searching for her next travel destination. So let's bring Mykayla on. Mykayla Walker, how are you this morning?
Second semester. Mykayla Walker off the bench. Her first field goal, the senior from Duluth, Georgia. And you know what? Elizabeth Williams Garcia's done a good job on it. Williams missed again. Mykayla Walker down with it. There's that quick outlet pass. Jones, and that is swatted away by Walker on the defensive end. Her best game in a month. Blocked by Walker.
Watch this play right here. Blocked by Walker. Transition. Big time play. I like the matchup zone by Virginia. When they've been able to set their defense, they forced Wake to have to work.
There is Walker, basket and foul.
Mykayla Walker wanted
Miami in that zone, but
Oh, what a pass.
Uterstrom got caught hedging out to the guard and left the block wide open for Walker inside.
It's off her career high. At 11 points, her career high 13. Scramble for the loose ball. Wilson down on the floor. Now the held ball, the possession arrow to Wake Forest. Seconds left.
So Wake has come back to tie it at 44. You see that Mykayla Walker not afraid to mix it up with a little shiner under her eye there, not affecting her one bit.
got that in
Good. Good morning.
Good morning.
Go ahead and get your little drink of coffee there. That's great. That's fine. How are you this morning?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Now, this is. I'm going to take you way back, but I remember
Yeah, you did.
from being a little girl when I came to visit you guys. You probably don't remember, and I'm not going to try to make you remember. But you know, people always do that. You remember when I said? No, I'm not going to do that one. But it's good to have you here. Thank you so much. So tell me about your job, first of all. And I want to talk about your playing career as well. But tell me as assistant coach, tell me what those responsibilities are and what that is like on a daily basis.
Well, on a daily basis, we have duties for everywhere from recruiting players to come play for us to developing our current players and also recruiting our current players. Our focus is making sure that our student athletes have a completely well-rounded experience. So we're making sure they're in classes and they're getting the help that they need with tutoring, facilitating different opportunities for them to do team bonding. It's a wide range of duties. They say other duties as assigned. That's mostly the job. So it is, I mean, truly a blessing. I was just announced officially yesterday as the recruiting coordinator at the University of Delaware, and I am incredibly fortunate, grateful for the opportunity. Wouldn't want to be doing it anywhere else.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So you're the recruiting coordinator. Tell me what that means.
Well, basically, you take on more responsibilities as keeping us organized on who we're recruiting, what we need, where they will fit, making sure that we are not recruiting over current players that we have. So it's really mostly an organizational thing, understanding where the players are going to be, keeping their schedule. So mostly organizing. That's what it is.
So I got to ask you this. We were just talking about Senator from Alabama, who's kind of one of our favorites to talk about. And I'm not going to ask you about him, but what do you think about players being paid? How does that tell me what you're thinking? You've been on both sides of that issue now. What do you think about it?
I have been on both sides of the issue. I've actually done a lot of research on it as well. When I did my master's at Georgetown, I got it in sports industry management, and my graduate capstone was about creating a minority leadership development program for student athletes, because in my opinion, as was mentioned earlier, student athletes don't have as much of an opportunity to take a job or do an internship to get them the experience that they need to be positioned in the professional sphere after graduating, should they not continue to play professionally. So that being said, I do want to mention that depending on the university, but student athletes do receive cost of attendance. It is a wide range based on what university it is and what your university has to offer. And then the other point that I wanted to clear up that was some confusion was the amateurism status. And I think they said it wasn't minor league sports, but with the NCAA, one of the things that they are kind of navigating through, because this has been a hot topic for so long, but they're just trying to navigate these student athletes still being amateur athletes and not professional athletes. Once you get paid to play, you become a professional. So that has been the biggest issue, I believe, that the NCAA is debating in order to get these student athletes paid, or to just get some extra money in their pockets, because again, they don't have the opportunity to take a job where they can get that extra money. A lot of student athletes can get financial aid, but some student athletes can't. I was one of the student athletes that wasn't able to get financial aid, so I was only getting, and we didn't get a stipend. There wasn't a cost of attendance when I played.
What is cost of attendance? Excuse me, I'm sorry.
So,
what is that? I never heard of that before.
So basically what cost of attendance is that each university will have a certain amount of money that they estimate it costs to attend the university. So basically universities are paying the difference. They're giving the difference of cost of attendance versus a full scholarship for books, room, board, and tuition and food. They give the difference to the student athletes as a cost of attendance check.
Huh. Okay. I never. So that's like the $15 laundry money we got way
right. Yes, exactly. It has increased significantly. It has increased significantly.
We get our little $15, man. We were set. You know.
Yeah, a little per diem. Per diem.
So let me. How long are you out of playing now? How long ago did you finish?
Ooh, I'm going into 9 years being out. I graduated in 2013.
Okay. You know, so when you playing, now that I look back and I realize, like, my position coach, he had finished playing about 5 or 6 years before he was now my coach. And so I don't think as a player you realize maybe how close in age you are to some of your coaches. I think
that depends on. Honestly, I think that depends on the player. We had a coach who was close to me. She was actually my age when she started, and I think she was 29 when she coached us. And one of my teammates would always say that you're the same age. My sisters are older than you. So, I mean, it just really depends on the student athlete and the relationships that you build with your players.
So I'm going to bring your dad on, and it's the first time we've ever had a daughter-son relationship on the show. But let me ask you this. So the last year and a half, we've been dealing with the COVID thing. How has it affected you guys? How has it affected recruiting and those things?
Well, I'd say that everyone was challenged to get better. I think that's a theme that has been going on around the world. Everybody was challenged to do what you're already doing, but do it better. So I think that we've added different ways to recruit because we haven't been able to see players in person. We've added different ways to bond with our team. We've added different ways to communicate. So it was a challenging year. It was actually one of a great year for the University of Delaware. It really showed how our athletic department bonded together. to get through this. So many championships up and down our athletic department this year, which was incredible to experience. But it really challenged a lot of people, and I've seen a lot of people grow through it. Our athletic training staff did an incredible job getting us through this season. I cannot stress enough. Our season, we were the only team in our conference to play all 18 conference games, and that's men or women. And that is directly related to the work that our athletic trainer did. Her name is Melanie, but she did an incredible job just keeping us organized, making sure that we were staying within our bubble. We were not, we're getting our testing done. We tested 3 times a week. And it's just a testament to how strong our department is, our university, and the commitment to athletics.
Okay. So Wake Forest to Georgetown to Delaware. You're working your way up north.
Up the East Coast. I talk to my boss all the time, Natasha Adair, and she recruited me when I was 16 at Wake, and then offered me an opportunity to get my master's at Georgetown, and she's literally just moving me up the East Coast. I'm like, Coach A, sis. But I couldn't be more grateful. So many great stops.
She's very complimentary of you. She described you as a young star in the coaching profession, who prides herself on work and winning. She says your leadership, team first mentality, and knowledge of the game of basketball is what makes you an outstanding addition to the program and to the family. You should be very proud of that.
Well, she would know. She was my boss was incredibly integral in my journey. I honestly would not be anywhere close to this without her and her vision, her commitment to making her student athletes better and better people all around. She wants them to be successful. She has so many living trophies. I have 2 teammates that I coach against in my conference that she recruited. So I can't say enough about Coach A. She's an incredible person, 2-time gold medalist with USA Basketball as a coach. So I'm just fortunate to have her as a role model and as a mentor and as a boss.
So do they call you Coach KK?
That is what they call me, Coach KK.
Okay. I was just curious. So I tell you what, let's get Barbara and your dad on here, and they got some questions. I'm going to ask Barbara to go first because I know your dad's going to have a woozy for you. I'm just giving him a hard time this morning. But go ahead, Barbara.
Good morning, Mykayla. We're so glad to have you with us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. I do have a question for you. And you talked a little bit about recruiting during the pandemic, but tell us about recruiting changes. How has recruiting changed, or has it changed from the days of your time as being recruited to college to recruiting students in high school now? What are the differences, if there are any differences?
Well, as anyone can tell you, especially my dad, but technology has changed, and it will consistently change. It's a constant. They say the only constant is change. So that's the biggest change, is that we didn't have Twitter when I was being recruited. We have Twitter now. We have many different social mediums that we can follow these players through and get to know them, help them get to know you without even having to have a conversation. So it just continues to grow.
That's great. Great. Thank you. And do you focus on this particular area of the country, or are you recruiting, throughout the U.S. or?
We will recruit throughout the U.S. There's Coach Adair knows no bounds. She's not privy to any one area. She is from the DC area, so we do a lot of heavy recruiting close to us locally. But there's no stop. We will recruit. We want the best kids from anywhere in the country.
That's great. Great. And I also saw that you spent some time as an intern at TNT Sports. Tell us about that. How was that experience?
Yes, I was actually an intern with Turner Sports. So Turner Sports was the sports subset of Turner Broadcasting Systems. So I had a wonderful boss in Tara August. She taught me so much. From the time that I was there, I got to watch a lot of broadcasts. I was working behind the scenes. That's when I realized that I really would rather be behind the scenes, working to make everything look awesome. I had a great time learning from the staff with NBA TV. And it's so funny because I'm just thinking, as a recruiting coordinator, I've drawn on my experience with Turner Sports and my experience with the Atlanta Hawks in sales a lot. So it's been pretty cool that I had that little different path to get here.
Wow, that is cool.
Are you liking the Hawks against Philadelphia?
I'm always liking the Hawks. I'm always liking the Falcons. I'm an ATL girl from day one. My dad will tell you I wanted a football helmet. I wanted a Falcons football helmet when I was little. So I am ATL forever. And they can keep disappointing me, but I'm going to keep coming back.
Well, that was great. Good deal. Okay, Dad, you're up.
Okay. And you got that Falcon football helmet for Christmas.
I sure did. I sure did.
Good morning, baby girl. I want to say, first of all, congratulations on your recent title and position change or your new job.
Yes.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Thank you.
The next congratulations is I want to congratulate you and the rest of your staff and the University of Delaware for becoming the regular season champion for the Colonial Athletic Association. This was your 4th year, so you guys came in. Yeah. Applause.
Yay.
You guys came in and lifted the program up. So in 4 years, you won the regular season championship. So hats off to you for that. My first question that I want to ask you is that in high school, you played what's called the 3 position, or the small forward, big guard. And honestly, you played everything in high school. But when you got to Wake Forest, it was out of, I guess, desperation or what have you. You were moved to the post, playing the 4 and the 5, although you grew up playing the 3, facing the basket. Then you had to turn. Can you tell me what experience or what helped you to be able to transition to playing a power forward position from a 3 and being able to do it successfully as you stepped up in competition going from high school to the ACC?
Dad, why don't you ask the people? Why don't you just ask me what you want to hear? What a roundabout way to ask this question. But again, yes, I did transition to being a post player. One of the most exciting things, we call ourselves the BBs, but you got to come see us to know what that means at University of Delaware. But the transition, it was, again, Coach Adair was my position coach, my boss, my current boss. So she taught me she taught me the basics. She taught me how to play in the post. And to her, I'm forever grateful for that understanding. But I did spend an entire summer working out and lifting weights with my dad, which helped me become that helped me with the physicality and being able to hold my own because I was a little undersized. So my dad.
Okay.
How you got that black eye? We saw you.
Yeah.
Well, my next
Not
question
one of my most
is that
exciting moments.
your head coach at Wake Forest, Coach Pete, as he's known, is now the interim head coach of the Atlanta Dream. Do you ever tune in to any of their games to see what he's doing on that level, and if there's something that you can pick up to instill in your players?
No, I do. I will. Well, mostly I tune in because he was my coach. He's my guy. Love Coach Pete, but it's less of tuning into the games and more of talking to him outside. So I'll talk to Coach Pete here and there whenever I need. He's always willing to give me advice. Well, before the pandemic, I was able to go watch some of his practices, which was easier back then, because he was an assistant, and as an assistant, he was actually working with a specific position. So I was doing watching a lot of his position work. But Coach Pete's always willing to help. He's a great guy. I'm so grateful for the opportunity that I had to play for him and to know him. He was one of the greatest basketball minds I've ever experienced. And again, another tribute to where I am, because I learned so much from playing for him at Wake Forest that I can watch his games now and be like, ooh, I know that's not going to go over well, or he loves that. Keep diving on those loose balls. So it's just fun to watch him now.
Okay. Well, I'll throw in this last one since you want to crack on me. When you first went to Wake Forest, your freshman year at Wake, you did not like your strength coach. You guys didn't get along at all. And then the next year, you won an award for making the most improvement. And you and the strength coach got along well. How did that happen?
Well, we did not get along. It was an adjustment for me to get into college athletics and college weight training. So I did not enjoy lifting weights. That was the bottom line. I didn't like it. It wasn't something I enjoyed. But the next year I understood the benefits. I learned actually the mechanics of what I was doing. Again, thanks, Dad. So the next year I just, you grow as a student athlete. With each year, you know what's happening. You know more of what's going on, more of what your coaches are looking for. So I would say that it's the maturity, which we can go throughout my career and see how I've matured in many areas. So I would definitely say that I'd attribute it a lot to maturity and growing, not being a freshman anymore.
Good deal. Okay, Barbara, you got some
Yes, I do have several other questions, but I'll start with this one. Mykayla, recently, I know, especially in football, players are getting offered scholarships at early ages. Now, I think I recently saw word like a 7th grader was offered a scholarship, college scholarship. So at what age do you start tracking female basketball players?
I wouldn't say that we have a specific age, but wherever the talent is, we're watching it. So I'll keep tabs on. I try. I don't really have a specific philosophy on 8th graders or kids that are younger. But if a coach tells me about a player, it doesn't matter what age she is, I'm going to put her on the list so I can make sure to keep watching her. So there's not necessarily an age limit, but again, we're looking for the best talent.
Right. And how early did you develop an interest in basketball? At what age were you?
I don't think that was an age thing. I think out of the womb, I believe my dad coached my mom in basketball in the 90s, or like 1990 or something like that, or maybe in the late 80s. But basketball wasn't really an option for me growing up. I played basketball my whole life. I've loved it my whole life. My dad and I used to watch Charles Barkley when I was little. Kobe Bryant's always been my favorite player. So I've loved the game of basketball my entire life.
Right.
Dad?
Yes. I ask you a question here. What's your position on players being involved in social justice and the politics of it surrounding? There are a lot of people that thinks that, I'll just borrow a phrase from some Fox commentator that said LeBron James should just shut up and dribble. And I think that started it all. So share with us your position on the players. Some people thinking the players shouldn't have a voice in politics or social justice.
I'm so glad you asked that question.
Y'all are too fun.
Again, my head coach, Natasha Adair, is extremely committed to ensuring that our student athletes have the confidence and the understanding to stand on their own 2 feet and speak on how they feel. Being an athlete is a profession. It's a profession. It is what we do. It's not who we are. And because we are athletes does not mean that we have an opinion. We can't have an opinion on what is happening in the world that we live in. Our student athletes, our women's basketball players, when we had the social or the civil unrest that we experienced earlier last year and around May and throughout June, our student athletes, our women's basketball team especially, had sat down with our head coach, and Coach A wanted to know how they felt and wanted to make sure that they understood that we support them and we want them to speak on how they feel. And that's not just regarding civil unrest, regarding social justice. It's in every aspect. We had they met with the governor in the state of Delaware. They met with Governor Carney, and they met with the attorney general and voiced their opinions. And they were able to, Governor Carney passed an executive order that banned the chokehold in the state of Delaware after meeting with our student athletes at the University of Delaware. It also called for more training in the police force. So I think that anyone that has a platform, anyone that has a voice, anybody that has the reach, because our athletic director put us in touch with these people to talk to. So if you have the ability to make change, you have to use it. It shouldn't be restricted to someone who went to school for public policy. Everyone is experiencing what we're going through. So I 100% believe that athletes should use their voice and they should use their platform to do as much good in the world that they can. We made mental health awareness shirts, and we wore them in the first round of our CAA tournament game. And so again, I am biased because I work for a woman who fully believes that these women that we are coaching and we are guiding need to use their voice and they need to be confident. So absolutely athletes should speak up. And we actually wore shirts all season that said, "We will not shut up and dribble." So appreciate the question.
I love that.
Well said. Couldn't have said it better than myself.
I'd like to say that I think all of us who have been involved in sports, and I was fortunate enough to play at several different levels, that term coach is very special in a person's life. And I can tell you right now, Coach Porter in high school was probably the best coach I ever had, because he not only taught me the fundamentals of sports. I was coming along during the beginning of integration, and he helped me tremendously. You talk about the Black Lives Matter. He helped me navigate that whole thing of being the only Black person on the team, one of 2 Black people on the team. And I will always be grateful to him. And even coaches who weren't as special, I think you have a very special relationship. And at one point after I had graduated and bounced around trying to play NFL, and I was coaching in the rec league in Birmingham, and coaching basketball, and had just a great time with those young men. And they were in some pretty rough circumstances. But if I'm in Birmingham and if I'm walking downtown, if I'm somewhere and I hear somebody say, "Hey, Coach Gossam," I know it's one of my guys, and it's just a special thing. And so I wish you well, and know that you're touching some people's lives, and that you'll make a difference in people's lives like they've made a difference in our lives. So, Mykayla, would you like to leave us with anything? You got any parting words for your dad here? she's thinking.
No, I just want everybody to know we we are coming off such an incredible season. Our student athletes, again, committed to playing basketball in some of the most difficult circumstances we've faced as a world in a long time. We were able to, like my dad said earlier, we won a regular season conference championship. My head coach in her first year coaching a team that was entirely hers. She's been tasked with rebuilding programs for at the last couple of stops that she's been at. And we've been here long enough for her to coach her own team. She won Coach of the Year. We had a Player of the Year this season in Jasmine Dickey, incredible athlete who deserved all of the accolades that she got because of her work ethic. My BBs and the rest of the team, it was a team effort. We were the #1 offensive rebounding team in the country with not a single player over 6'2". Wow. So I just want to really emphasize how grateful, how exciting, how blessed I am to have this opportunity at the University of Delaware and to continue and build on the success that we've had thus far. But I really, really just wanted to harp on our players and our coaching staff. Coach Adair, our fearless leader, the most incredible person that I've come across in a long time. It's a wonderful place here at the University of Delaware, and I want everyone to know that.
All right. Very well. Very well, good. Okay, well, let's move on. It isn't often, and this is my commentary, or as I see it, that we have a parent and offspring duo on the show. It isn't often, it's the first time ever. As a matter of fact, it's never happened. We're honored to have had the Walkers. I've known Michael for many years, probably more years than I can count. And I've known Mykayla since she was a little girl, probably before she remembers me. I'm proud that they were our G-list guests today. Although Mykayla was our actual G-lister, her dad obviously participated, and you can tell there's a lot of love there, and it's just wonderful. Their story is obviously more than just a sports story. It's a story of love and generational success, which I think is very important. We're very proud to have Mykayla join us today along with her dad, and that is how I see it. And that's our show for today. I want to thank the audience. We appreciate you. I want to thank Michael, Barbara, thank Mykayla. Thank our sponsors, Best Girl Inc. and Mainstream Financial Group. If you know somebody who you think would make a great guest, please refer them to us at either Thom at Best Girl or Emily at bestgirl.com. I want to thank Emily Hedrick, the communicator, our producer. Thanks Sean Jones, the organizer. Remember to enjoy yourself. Make every day count. Stay safe and peace.